Good evening, everyone. Today is Friday, June 20th, 2025. Update for Monday the 23rd. All right, let's go. Well, slightly positive data portfolio. We'll get to that in just 1 second. I still like this math. Wait for a trigger. Obviously, it gapped open, but then came back in on a day. We'll take a look at that right now. As you can see, a gap, but didn't quite get to that trigger. So obviously, wait for the trigger. And number two is keep an eye out just in case it pops up and has an opening gap reversal tomorrow. There's a few in here that are catching my eye, just not worthwhile going after, like this AGX. If you did go after it, probably an entry about, let's see, 225, stop about 90. I was noodling with the math earlier. That'd be like 50 shares on that one. Kind of interesting, but I just don't think it's worth the going after. This RBRK looks interesting too. Maybe an entry above this high, stop out about 80. Again, you wouldn't take on a whole lot of shares with something like that. The good news is I am seeing more stocks in different areas setting up. I guess kind of the bad news is things are looking a little worse as of today. But I will get to that in just 1 second. Let's take a look at the portfolio. KGC. You can see a little bit of an opening gap reversal there. It did in Flatsville, but not too far away from these new highs. You know me. I sure like to see them hit those new highs and that initial profit target sooner rather than later. OK day and TFPM just shy of all-time highs. Let's take a look at the overall market, and obviously, as usual, drill down a little bit. First of all, S&P 500. The P's in it a little lower, no big whoop, but as you can see, take a look at the net. Never forget about the net, right? They are losing a little steam based on that, and they are back below this prior little breakout in here. And of course, it's still below a little bit of overhead supply in the prior high. So, you know, I surely see a breakout and not look back for a while. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ Composite started strong, but ended weak. It too losing a little steam, and pretty much everything I said for the P's applies to it too. Rusty also started strong and finished weak. It's back below this prior little breakout and below a ton of overhead supply. As I would say, quite a bit. A lot of areas have lots and lots of overhead supply, like robotics and AI. You can see break it down a little bit now, well below that 30, break it down below this little range that it was stuck in for some time. Cybersecurity, that's one of those areas. That's that V-shaped recovery thing that I'm always complaining about. But you can see I got whacked fairly hard today, so any additional weakness would put it back below its breakout. And that's, again, one of my concerns about the V-shaped recoveries at high levels. Obviously, a market can break through that and keep on keeping on. There are special circumstances and situations where that can happen. So it's just kind of a guideline and nothing cast in stone. Anyway, you can see that it's just kind of consolidating in here. It could actually use a little bit more of a pullback. So we could see some sit-ups here fairly soon. Take a look at the EFA shares. They've lost quite a bit of steam, and now they're beginning to look fairly ugly in here. Again, they took off to the races. V-shaped recovery did great, kept on keeping on, and now they're rolling over fairly hard. So more and more deceleration of trend, and you can see the bow tie is going to come together fairly quickly to the downside there. Bitcoin tried to rally, came back in. It's just consolidating at these high levels. You know, I mean, I'll surely see a breakout and not look back. Stop if you heard that before. Gold, the commodity, Flatsville in here, continues to kind of hang around these high levels. Longer term trend in place, shorter term just trading sideways in here, consolidating. Take a look at gold stocks. You can see getting whacked a little. Geez, another one of those cases where I should like to just break out the new highs and not look back. Again, one day at a time. Broker-dealer tried to break out yesterday, came back in a smidge after trying to rally a bit, but still ended up a little bit on the day and just shy of all-time highs. So it certainly has been improving as of late. Biotech kind of Flatsville, but it's below a mound of, you guessed it, overhead supplies. Take a look at MAG. Same sort of action happening there too. Still below lots of overhead supply. They got hit fairly hard today, down 1% and change. Transports, as I've been saying, here and there, still below lots of overhead supply. They were kind of Flatsville, just losing some steam as of late. Not really too hard to get too excited there. Platinum got whacked, but longer term, it still looks pretty good. Robotics and AI, none of those areas that's still below lots of overhead supply. It got whacked fairly hard today. Sky Computing, or Cloud Computing, I should say, selling off fairly hard, as you can see, down to 30. And again, you guessed it, lots and lots of overhead supply to deal with. Silver got whacked. It still looks like its breakout / uptrend remains intact, though, but obviously one day at a time. Stop if you heard that before. Semiconductors, bit of a bummer. Outside day down, and then also losing almost 1% on the day, stalling right at this prior peak. You sure would like to see it break out and not look back. I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse on some of these things. Speaking of breaking out, off its best levels, opening gap reversal with social media so far, its breakout remains intact. It doesn't seem to care about that V-shaped recovery. Uranium pulled back a little bit, but these rare earths look pretty good in here. So we could see some setups there fairly soon. Energies have been waking. Energies, the commodity, I should say. Oil, the commodity, I should say. Waking up a bit. New highs here. I am seeing some stocks that are bottoming out that look interesting, but a lot of them do have some overhead supply to contend with. And sometimes these commodity-related stocks, as you know, can be a little choppy. And you could see how choppy they've been. There's the energies all over the place, the stocks, that is. Decent day, but they've got their work cut out for them. But on a selected issue basis, there are some stocks that could set up fairly soon. Financials below the prior peaks in here, losing steam like some of the other areas. Telecom, big outside day down. V-shaped recovery stalling at the prior peak. So kind of we're back to the questionable column. Again, though, as I've been saying quite a bit, a down day when you're at an inflection point looks a lot uglier than it might really be. But continued down days, obviously, and then bow ties flipping over and crossing over and all that stuff, then we need to start getting concerned. But today was not a great day. We need to kind of pay attention to what's happening with the market, that is, and see if things begin to unfold. Sorry I went long. I just want to cover all these sectors in a little more detail tonight. Everybody have a fantastic night. We'll talk again on Monday, if not sooner. I will be checking in throughout the weekend. Again, everybody have a great weekend, and we'll talk again on Monday.